What's up, TATP listeners, and welcome back for another episode of the Accessible Technology Podcast with me, Phoebes Lyle. For those of you who are new to listening to this podcast, this is a podcast that is all about what technology is the most accessible for disabled people to use, as well as sometimes getting into what is the least accessible, while also shining a wee bit of light on the ways that technology companies can start making their technology more accessible for everyone, as we hopefully start moving into a more accessible world as far as technology goes. This is an area that I have had a very big interest in for years, since I have a disability. That means I can't move anything other than my head. So yeah, that has limited the amount of technology I have been able to access over the years. However, I think on the positive side, it does mean that I'm able to then give a perspective that with technology companies can make technology accessible for me, then it will no doubt be accessible for anyone else who wants to use it after. I have spent a lot of time away from this podcast in recent weeks and months, technically just because I have been working and have been too tired to really do anything or to stay on top of everything as much. But yeah, feeling a wee bit better now, maybe thanks to a wee bit of coffee. So yeah, getting back to it, and I should be able to then stay on top of updating it in the next wee while. The podcast is normally updated a couple of times a month. In this episode, however, you're going to be hearing another part of my custom DSi reviews. That reviews another load of games that I tested out on the custom DSi that I have been loaning in for a while. So yeah, that is what you're going to be hearing about in this one. However, there aren't any background notes that you need to learn in this, so pretty much if you want to hear the background notes that I give in previous versions of this, you can do that by going back to the last few episodes that I did on the custom DSi, and the background notes are in there. If you would like to follow this podcast, however, you can now follow it by searching for the Accessible Technology Podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, YouTube Podcasts, and Spotify. And I will also have a set channel for all of the episodes set up again soon, but everything takes time. However, if you would like to support me in other ways, you can do that by going over to my Phoebes Lyle Buy Me a Coffee page, which is buymeacoffee.com/Phoebes Lyle, and that's where you can either make a one-time donation to help support me. However, you can also further subscribe to a membership that I have, which is called the Extreme Nerds with an X, and that is where you'll be able to subscribe, so you'll be able to hear unedited versions of the conferences that I react to every now and again on my channel, on YouTube, on WordPress, and on the podcast. However, if you would also like to show your support, you can also just go over to my PL Tech Reviews YouTube channel and over to the blog pltechreviews.co.uk, or you can also just support everything by just following this podcast wherever you're listening to it on. But anyway, before any more time goes by, hope you enjoyed today's episode, and here it is. This is a customized DSi that has had a switch interface installed into it that will help me press the L and R buttons. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing a few more games I have tested out on the Customised DSi, and I'll be explaining how accessible they are. Number 1, Shrek the Third. Shrek the Third is a DS game that is based off the third film in the iconic film franchise, and which was developed by Vicarious Visions and published by DreamWorks. It allows 1 to 3 players and is rated 3+. But now that you know all about the product details, let me now look at what the controls are. The controls are split into a couple of different control methods, including touchscreen controls, D-pad and other button controls, and button and blowing controls. However, with the Customised DSi, the back buttons controls are actually made a lot easier, and if you are a disabled person who finds it difficult to blow into a DS but find it easier to scream, yep, you'll be able to do everything else. Nevertheless, however, it actually might be a good idea for you to buy in a clamp that will allow you to stick a switch to it. Some of the things I like about Shrek the Third are the simple controls that you have for the most part, as well as the action that isn't overly complicated in the main game. I also like the fun combat that you get to play through. However, some things that I don't like includes the confusing layout for selecting levels, blowing controls, and the lack of options to turn it off, although, as I said, there are ways that you can get around this, and the lack of assistance. However, overall, I do feel that it is accessible enough. However, if you find some things difficult, you will have to think up creative ways to get past them and those obstacles. Number 2, Mario Slam Basketball, a game developed by Square Enix and published by Nintendo. Mario Slam Basketball is a game for the Nintendo DS, which was originally released in 2006. Most of the controls in this game are on the touchscreen, so you shouldn't actually need an adapted DS to perform them. However, there are times when you will have to press buttons, so seeing if you can persuade someone to adapt the DS for you is maybe something that you might want to consider. To switch teammates, you'll have to press the L button, but you can also do this by holding down the L button and swiping with the stylus, although that will be quite difficult if you have limited movement. Furthermore, you'll also have to press the L and R buttons when swapping back to the main screen, as well as clicking down Start and Select at the same time. However, personally, I find it much easier just to turn the DS off and on again if I want to return to the main menu. So yeah, that shouldn't be something that people with limited movement should have too much trouble with if you go via the same lines that I am. Beyond this, however, there are a range of other controls that you will need to remember, such as the D-pad working as your way to change the direction that you want your character to go in. However, you can also do this by tapping the left or right side of your character with a stylus. To dribble, you'll have to tap the touch screen again and again. But if you stop dribbling and your character continues to hold the ball, you can dribble it again and instead have to choose whether you want to shoot the ball or pass it to another teammate, which you can do by swiping on the touch screen. To pass the ball, you'll have to stroke left or right, although that will only pass the ball to whatever player is on that exact side. And to shoot the ball, you'll have to swipe up from the bottom to the top. To steal the ball, you'll have to stroke from the bottom to the top, and to jump, you will have to stroke from bottom to top. As well as this, when it comes to using items that you'll gain after picking one up after you tap the question mark panel, you'll have to stroke towards your opponent to actually use it. Number 3, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Miniland Mayhem, a Mario spin-off game developed and published by Nintendo Software Technology. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Miniland Mayhem is a single-player puzzle game and is the third handheld game in the Mario vs. Donkey Kong franchise, featuring a unique blend of puzzle, platformer and mini-games. You also get to use a bot version of Mario, as well as completing scientific levels, which I have found really good fun. I love the difficulty and challenging nature of some of the levels, because I think they get you thinking even as an adult at the age of 26. Nevertheless, I also like how easy it is to access the menus, although in future, if Nintendo actually starts making their newest technologies, such as the Switch, more accessible, I would like to see a help option on other consoles that actually appears on the screen in case some disabled people can't actually click buttons or find it difficult to click buttons. But anyway, what I basically want to say is that Mario vs. Donkey Kong Mini Land Mayhem is playable with just a touchscreen for the most part. However, you will need to seek help if you want to access the help menu, in which case you'll have to plug in a switch into the L or R port. But anyway, I am really happy with how much more accessible this console in particular makes it. Number 4, Restaurant Tycoon. A simulation/strategy game developed and published by Most Wanted. Restaurant Tycoon lets you play as one player and is also rated 3+. A mix between a Sims-like game and Cooking Mama. Restaurant Tycoon is a game that throws you into a restaurant and lets you manage your staff, develop new products, choose marketing strategies, and cook and serve different courses. For the most part, the game is played with the touchscreen. However, you will have to click a switch in the L or R button port if you want to retreat around the restaurant, which again, the Customised DSi makes a whole lot easier. Personally, I haven't spent a lot of time playing this game, but from what I have played, it's enjoyable enough. The only thing I find slightly annoying is rotating around the game with a switch, but that might have been because I was trying to rush a couple of gameplay clips out, so yeah, it's just something you have to put up with. But anyway, I do find it really entertaining, and if you like cooking games, it's definitely one to look out for. Number 5, Trauma Center. An action virtual novel simulation game developed by Atlas and released in 2005. Trauma Center Under the Knife invites you to play as a doctor. Throughout the game, you will play your way through increasingly complex surgeries, which at first start off in the OR when a mysterious outbreak sweeps the area that throws you into action. The stylus is used as your scalpel and helps you make incisions and euthanize problem areas, to remove tumours, to monitor vital signs, to apply bandages and more. Beyond this, you'll also be dealing with human drama regarding appointments, so it is accessible. However, I would say that if you don't like games that are too difficult, this one really isn't the game for you. So what did you think about the games that I covered in this episode? Did you like what I was saying about them? And if you're someone who would be interested in trying out whether you can play any of these games one-handed, would you be up to it? If you would like to pass on your feedback, you can do so by going over to the pltechreviews.co.uk website and going over to the contact pages and sending me your thoughts. Or you can of course comment them on a blog post, on a video, or in the review section of this podcast. If you would like to support the content that I am doing and to make a one-time donation, you can do that by going over to buymeacoffee.com/sleepslow. Or if you would be up to listening to unedited versions of my reactions to technology conferences, you can do that by joining the Extreme Nerds membership on there. As far as my other socials go, however, you can follow me on X by searching for @ThebeSlyle, and you can also follow me on Instagram by searching for the real ThebeSlyle. But anyway, that's all for now. In the next episode, I'm going to be reacting to the top cards that were featured in Xbox's recent June showcase, and after that I will be catching up on Apple's WWDC conference from earlier this year, since I didn't have any time to catch up with it until now. And then after that you'll probably see a lot more reviews and tutorials coming out on the channel, because I would be up to getting into all of that, plus as well some game reviews, so yes, please keep an eye out. But anyway, if you've made it all the way to the end of the episode, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!